A massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, especially these days. 8 different settings, adjustable intensity, plus it's heated, and it just feels so good. Yes, a massage chair might seem a bit extravagant, but when it can come with a car, suddenly it seems quite practical. The all-new 2025 Volkswagen Tiguan, packed with premium features like available massaging front seats, it only feels extravagant.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3-month plan, equivalent to $15 per month required. New customer offer for first 3 months only. Speed slow after 35 gigabytes if network's busy. Taxes and fees extra. See mintmobile.com.
Since the Italian Stallion first appeared on screen in 1976, Rocky Balboa's cinematic story has become a firm part of pop culture, not just in America, but around the world. And the tropes have been emulated and parodied many times over the years in other films, television, and other media. It seems that everyone knows that theme music, the training montage, the steps to the Philadelphia Museum of Art, and so on. Like all great films about sports, Rocky isn't really about boxing, but about life itself. It's about people and how they relate to one another. After a successful sequel in 1979, it was no surprise that Stallone would once again don his boxing shorts and gloves for this 80s sequel. This time, however, there are new challenges and challengers, both physical and emotional. So climb back into the boxing ring, crank up Survivor's Eye of the Tiger, and get ready for a knockout episode as Chris Adams, JB Huffman, and I discuss Rocky III from 1982 on this episode of the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. Well, welcome in, everybody. So glad to have you on this episode. We are wrapping up our summer of sequels with a kind of it's not really a bonus episode because it's coming out when a regular episode comes out, but it's a bonus in the sense that it's not from a franchise that we've covered yet because the first 2 movies, of course, came out in the 70s. But this is a great 80s sequel, and why not do it here at the end of August to close out our summer of sequel series? But tonight we're stepping back into the ring and to discuss a film this legendary. I needed a corner team that has no quit in them. First up, he's got the eye of the tiger when it comes to spotting a film's strengths and weaknesses, and he's never lost his edge. A huge welcome to Chris Adams from Retro Life for You. How you doing, Chris?
Doing good. How you doing today?
I'm doing good. And his tag team partner tonight is a man with the heart and smarts of Apollo Creed. He knows you can't just go toe-to-toe with the movie, you got to have a game plan. So welcome back the one and only JB Huffman from Manly Movies. How you doing, JB?
Doing great, man. I'm happy to cover this, and the timing of it, not long after the great Hulk Hogan's death.
Yeah, I know.
I might get a little emotional. I'm just saying.
Look, the hard thing with this one, when I was doing the research, is like, I can't spend too much time on Mr. T and Hulk Hogan just because their backgrounds, life story, like there's so much about them. So I was like, I gotta keep it short. But yeah, we are going to talk about both of them. And of course, it was hard not to, when he came on the screen, I was like, oh man. And this was Hulk Hogan before the world really knew who Hulk Hogan was, which is really cool too. So we'll get into it. But yeah, we'll have your tissue ready if you need it. So let's jump into today's episode. I'll start with Chris. When did you see Rocky III for the very first time?
Very first time. It was definitely on a home rental. This is one of those movies I told you before. We've talked about this before. Mm-hmm. I probably brought this up twice on your podcast back when they had the video disc players.
Yeah.
But you So this was one of those movies that I would always get when my mom would rent one of those for us, and I would just immediately flip it over to the backside and put the backside in. Because you're past all the stuff with the first initial loss and Mick dying and
all the drama.
You're past all the drama. Now you're at the point where Apollo has got Rocky. He's retraining him for the rematch and all the good stuff. So I would just always watch that. Yeah, that's the first time I'd seen it.
Gotcha. What about you, JB?
It's one of those, like I've said before, I don't remember not watching this, but I do remember distinctly when I was a kid. I mean, of course, yeah, I'm sure I watched it several times in the 80s, but then in the 90s, after Rocky V came out, they came out with this VHS box set that was like in a big American flag. All the VHSs is like fit together, and I had that sucker, and I kept it in my room because I would watch them over and over and over and over and over again. I love this franchise, and this was one of my favorites. It might have been my favorite growing up. Oddly enough, I really, really liked 5 when I was a kid, but I'm ashamed to admit that, but
No, I we won't cover it because that one I think did come out in the 90s, like 1990, I think. But when I saw it in the theater, I loved it. I thought it was great. And then, a couple of years later, going back and watching it, I was like, it didn't seem to be as good as I remembered. But I was just such a big Rocky fan. It really didn't matter to me. But yeah, so for this one, I saw that this is one that played on HBO a lot when we had HBO when I was a kid. So this is the very first Rocky movie that I saw. I had never seen 2. I had never seen 1. Didn't know they existed. And I want to say that by the time this was on cable, Mr. T was on A-Team. So I knew who he was. I think I might have known who Hulk Hogan was at that point. Maybe not. I wasn't as into wrestling at that point as I was later, like later in the 80s. And this might have been the first Stallone movie I saw. I don't remember. I was really little when I saw it, but I remember this movie being on the little TV in the basement of our house, where kind of like our basement living room was. And I remember that I had a tape recorder that I used to record, because we didn't have VCR to watch the movie over again, but I would record like certain parts of the movie to hear it, replay my favorite scenes later on. Definitely remember like the wrestling scene, him and Hulk Hogan. I vividly remember Mick's death and the funeral for some reason. So I know we'll kind of get to iconic scenes, but so this is like the nostalgia of nostalgia Rocky movies for me. So I saw Rocky IV in the theater, which we'll talk to when we get to that movie, but this is the one that I remember seeing on HBO so many times. But it is the movie that made me become a huge Stallone fan, Rocky fan. And I'll honestly say, I know we don't cover it, but I didn't see the first 2 Rockies until I was probably an adult. Like, I don't think I ever sat down and watched. I've watched 3, 4. I know I watched a bunch of times. I saw 5 a couple of times, but this is the one that introduced me to the character and kind of to Stallone. So got a lot of love for this one. And it's hard for me because I like to say that 4 is my favorite, but after watching this one again, it's like this one might have edged it out just a little bit, just because it's got a little bit more of a story to it. And there's some good dramatic moments in it that really give it some weight. But Rocky IV is so much fun. It's like, it's almost more entertaining because half of it's a music video. But anyway, we'll get into that when we get to...
It's the rock and roll entry into the franchise.
Yeah, exactly.
Rocky IV,
yeah. Definitely the best soundtrack of all of them, only because they put Eye of the Tiger on the soundtrack for 4 as well. They couldn't not put it on there. But anyway. So how long has it been since you rewatched it before rewatching the podcast, Chris?
Oh, like I said earlier, I watched it just today. I always try to rewatch the movies if I'm able to before I do a podcast episode, just to make sure it's fresh on my mind.
Yeah, but how long? Yeah, but before that, like how long has it been since you watched it before rewatching it for the podcast? Yeah.
Man, it's been several years.
Okay.
It's for 3. Now I've watched Rocky IV quite often.
Yeah.
And Rocky Balboa has been on TV on TNT
a lot
more than its fair share. So I mean, but this one here it's one of my favorites. But it's been a while since I've watched it actually.
What about you, JB?
Yeah. Thanks, Chris, for making me feel bad. I normally
That's what I'm here for, man. Hey, that's my role in this thing today is to make people feel terrible.
Yeah. I normally go back and watch them before a podcast, but I just completely slipped my mind. But like as I was saying earlier, like I have seen these movies so many times it really
Mhm.
doesn't matter.
Hmm. Hmm.
This this one, well, just like all of them, I think the last time the last time that I logged it on Letterbox was 4 years ago in
Okay.
2021. But I have watched them since then because every time I see them on, I'm watching them. And if it's like, I mean, I may not watch the whole thing.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've definitely watched it, bits and pieces of it several times in the last 4 years since the last time that I actually logged it.
Yeah. I remember watching this. It's been within the last 10 years, probably 5 years ago, maybe, I want to say. I don't think it was during the pandemic. I think it was before then, but I had all of them on, I think they were all on Prime at some point. And so it was like a Saturday or like a holiday weekend where I had nothing to do. And I was like, I don't want to watch these from the beginning. And I did. I watched 1, 2, 3, 4. I watched 5, and then I watched Rocky Balboa, which I have a soft spot for Rocky Balboa too. I think once again, it gets bashed a lot just because he's too old, but the story of the movie is really good. Anyway, sidebars. So yeah, so I've watched this one more recently. Before then, it had probably been 10 or 15 years since I had seen it. So, but I own the complete set now, so I can watch it whenever I want. But it's also still on Prime, I noticed as well, because yeah,
Where I watched it.
I was kind of mad because I have a digital copy that I own, and I'm probably going to send a message to Fandango at Home, which now that I'm going to say this will never be a sponsor of the show, and that's okay. But I noticed like the picture quality, the picture kept changing, like the brightness would change on and off, and I thought maybe it was my TV, so I checked my settings, and it was still doing that like almost all the way, like halfway through the movie. And then it just got to a point, it kept stopping. I was like, I'm sorry, we cannot load this at the time. Like, I own this movie. You can load it how it feels like. This is, I guess if it's digital, we don't own it, which is why I'm trying to
Yeah.
beef up my physical media. But so I tried it like 3 times before I could get it to start back up. And it was right at the scene where Rocky and Adrian are having their conversation on the beach, which is like one of the high drama moments. And it kept cutting out on me. It's like, I said, look, it's got to be on something else. And I found it on Prime. Now, granted, I had bought the 4K digital version. I went to Amazon Prime to see the 4K version, and the Amazon Prime was cleaner, better picture quality, and it didn't give me any problems. So I will be sending Fandango at Home a very nice letter asking for upgrade on my digital package. But anyway, sidebar again. So, all right, well, let's jump into story origin and pre-production, which was really short. Like, I thought it would be more of a story, and there's really not much. Of course, following the success of Rocky II, Stallone began developing a third installment for the Rocky franchise that would explore the challenges of fame and complacency. The narrative arc was designed to show Rocky Balboa no longer as the underdog, but as the world champion dealing with the physiological and physical consequences of success. Stallone returned as writer and director, aiming to bring a more stylized and commercially dynamic tone to the series. Because Rocky's life is so different in this film from the first 2 films, he wanted this film to look different from the first, so as to reflect the changes in the character's life. He felt that one of the biggest prices of fame is a loss of privacy and an intrusion of the media into every aspect of a celebrity's life. He felt that people get to know celebrities primarily through news and documentary footage, so he wanted to film it that way, as if the camera was secretly filming Balboa, who had given up all rights to privacy. That's why there's so much handheld material in the film, which until I read that, I don't think I would have picked up on that. Like maybe if I would have watched, I didn't go back and watch 1 and 2 before watching 3, but if I had probably watched it in sequence order, I probably would have noticed that it was a bigger change in how it was filmed. But I think it was interesting that he wanted to go that route of showing, filming it that way where it's a little bit more documentary, where you're really kind of a lot more close-ups and that kind of stuff. So did you guys notice that?
I did not, but now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely makes sense. I didn't really think about that way either, but I mean, now that you say it, I can see that.
I'm gonna have to rewatch them again and look for it. But yeah, so like I do every year. So.
Right, yeah. You'll come back up again. So, all right, well, that's it for pre-production. I mean, just he knew what he wanted to do. We'll talk a little bit more in casting as we get into casting too. But anyway, let's talk about casting. So of course we got Sylvester Stallone as Rocky Balboa. I'm not going to go over his filmography. We've covered him. JB Huffman and I have covered him twice for Tango and Cash on his podcast and mine. Did we do Tango and Cash on your podcast, Chris? Do I feel like
you might have been the one with me? I can't remember, honestly.
I've covered this movie, so I've covered Tango and Cash way more than I should, I guess. But
I have done Tango and Cash.
Yeah.
I just can't remember if you were the one that was on there.
I feel like it was. Because I know I was on JB's, and then I think it was on yours, and then we did it on mine, and JB was on there with me. So, but anyway, so you can go back and listen to that. And we've also, at this point, we've covered all 3 of the Rambo movies that came out in the 80s as well. So.
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've talked about Stallone quite a bit. So, but he does look noticeably more ripped than he did in the first 2 films. Stallone managed to get his body fat percentage down to an all-time low of 2.6% and weighed 155 pounds.
Well, that's almost right there with me.
Yeah.
He looks like a middleweight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that was the line. Yeah, I think they said he was like 195 in that last when they introduced for the fight with Clubber Lang, and Clubber Lang was like 225, 230. I was like, dude, to get in that kind of shape, Stallone would only eat 10 egg whites a day with a piece of toast, treating himself to some fruit every 3rd day. I don't know how you can eat that little and then, like, he would work out, he would swim, like he did his like all that exercise. Like, I don't know how you do that with that little bit of food every day. It was the 80s, so we tried it all.
And eggs are like the perfect superfood too. So like if you're eating that many eggs, you pretty much feel full.
Okay, well, maybe
Maybe
that's what he needed.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't work out, so I wouldn't know. Like, I wouldn't know how much food you need when you're actually working out. So
Yeah, I don't. I have a dietitian, so I haven't gotten those stats before. But he does. I mean, he definitely looks ripped. It's funny because I think we talked about that in Rambo: First Blood Part 2. Like, he got really ripped for that one. So yeah, this was his prime, the era he was in prime shape for sure, like the early to mid 80s. So, and then we've got Talia Shire as Adrian. She's the only, we haven't talked about any other movie. So she's the only daughter of Italia composer Carmen Coppola. She is the sister of director-producer Francis Ford Coppola and academic August Coppola, the aunt of actor Nicolas Cage and director Sofia Coppola, and the niece of composer and conductor Anton Coppola. So the Coppolas are a big family and very famous. So, but of course, she's best known for her roles as Connie Corleone in the Godfather trilogy, as well as Adrian in the Rocky series. She has done some other movies, but this is pretty much what she's most known for.
Did you know she was in a real cheesy superhero thing on Saturday mornings a long time ago?
I don't think so.
You'll look it up one day. It's really crazy.
Okay.
It's some of the cheesiest looking stuff. Do you remember how a show called Captain Marvel was on television?
Yes.
Like Shazam?
Yeah, the old one, yeah.
So it's filmed kind of like that, about that same time frame and everything. But it's her and another woman playing 2 women superheroes. I forget what they were called now. But
was that Dino Girl? Or was it something else?
That might be what that was.
Yeah, I didn't know that was. I've seen like the clips of that, but I didn't realize that was her.
Yeah, it's her and somebody else.
Yeah. Funny. I will say that, and once again, I know JB's seen it a lot. Chris, you can add it if you want. But is she a much different character in this movie than she was? I know from the first one, because she's very shy, very timid. You know, that's the whole. You know, one is very much the love story between Rocky and Adrian. Like, it's more about their love story than it is about boxing. The second one, I think, leaned more into the boxing, but it was still more of a drama and not really a, what quote unquote what we call now a sports movie. But I feel like in this movie, she has a little bit more oomph, or she has, like, her having something to say matters in this one, I guess, or she's got a little bit more boldness. So am I wrong in saying that, or did that come across as well?
I don't think you're wrong. And I think she definitely stands out a little bit better as a stronger character than she was in her previous ones. So, no, you're not wrong at all on that.
Yeah, like she became in the second one, she was more of like a supporting role to Rocky, and was just there to encourage him. But in this movie, she was like legit, like putting him in his place and snapping him back into reality. And like So like I think this is where she kind of started taking a turn, which we'll see more of it in Rocky 4.
Right, yeah.
Straight up, you can't win.
Yeah, no,
Anyway,
yeah. My greatest
like
encourager to my biggest doubter. Thank you.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. So like this is really when she started to turn in that direction
Mhm.
was in this movie. So yeah, I could see that for sure.
Yeah. And I like that, I know we'll talk about the scene, but the scene with them on the beach, I like that she's the one that kind of snaps. Like, Apollo is there to train him and kind of, he kind of helped kind of get him in that mode. But even Apollo couldn't do it. Of course, they weren't, they were enemies and they kind of were becoming friends in this too. So, that helped establish their relationship. But I think it's great in the writing that, Stallone felt that it was important that she be the one that really kind of lights the fire back in him to make him realize that he can do it, not these other outside forces that are, good for him and are close to him, but not as close as she is to be able to speak to him that in that way. All right, moving on. Burt Young as Paulie. He appeared in such films as Chinatown in 74, The Gambler in 74, The Killer Elite in 75, Convoy 78, Once Upon a Time in America in 1984, The Pope of Greenwich Village in 84, Back to School in 1986, one of my favorites, Mickey Blue Eyes in 99. He was also in Amityville 2, which I think was like 82 or 83. So, but yeah, Burt Young is Paulie. Of course, he was in the other movies. I haven't covered him on any other movies here on the podcast. We want to bring him up, but always one of my favorite characters in the Rocky movies. And of course, but I will say, I feel like there was like some kind of setup there at the beginning, like the shot of Paulie in the bar, and then he walks into the arcade and he tears up the Rocky pinball machine. He goes to jail. Rocky comes and picks him up. I'm like, was that all just so Rocky could have him on his team and hire him? I don't know if that was like an extension of like part 2, or if they just trying to give Paulie a little bit more character development somewhat. But really, he doesn't. I mean, it never comes back into play in the rest of the movie. So I just thought it was interesting that scene is there.
Yeah, like they were probably trying to give him a little bit more to work with too. Like it's funny. Paulie is one of those guys that every time I see him in another movie that's not Rocky, I'm like, it's kind of like when Norm walks in at Cheers and everybody's like, no,
right.
That's how I am with Paulie. When I see him in anything else, I'm like, Paulie,
hey, Paulie.
Exactly. Yeah, definitely his most iconic role for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So once again, I think maybe just kind of giving him another moment to shine. Like, he's such a great actor. Like, give him his moment, even if it's kind of early in the movie. But I like Paul. Paulie's great. I will get to one of my favorite lines, but I'd exchanged with him and Stallone, which we'll get to. But then, of course, you got Carl Weathers as Apollo Creed. We covered him in our Predator episode, so we won't go back and cover him. But of course, this is his third time in the Rocky franchise. He was in the first 2. And then Burgess Meredith as Mickey. Come on, Rock.
Burgess Meredith.
He established himself as a leading man in Hollywood with critically acclaimed performances in Winter Set in 1936, Of Mice and Men in 1939, and The Story of G.I. Joe in 1945. Not the cartoon, but The Story of G.I. Joe. Of course, he was known later in his career for his appearances on The Twilight Zone and for portraying the Penguin in the 1960s TV series Batman. So, yeah.
Yes. I was wondering when you were going to get to that one.
Oh, yeah. Of course, I remember him as well from Clash of the Titans in 1981. He appeared in the comedy Foul Play with Chevy Chase. But yeah, he, one of the greatest actors to ever do it. And if you've never seen the Grumpy Old Men movies, him as the old man, the dirty old man, he's so funny in that movie. Those movies are hilarious. But anyway, yeah, it's kind of a shame that he's only spoiler alert. He's only in this for the first half of the movie, but yeah, he was great.
Why wasn't he in it for very long? You want to spoil it a little bit further?
No. I mean, hopefully you've seen the movie, right? I think I mentioned it already. Yeah. I remember his funeral scene. So yeah, he does die of a heart attack early in the movie.
You didn't.
I did.
All the people out there that are going to go watch this movie now are not going to watch it because you just spoiled the whole thing.
Go watch it anyway.
Dude,
Go
it's
watch
like
it
in the
anyway.
first scene.
Yeah, it's like the
But
first
no.
20 minutes of the movie. He'll be all right. So,
It's funny, like, I've watched a lot of, like, older movies from the 40s and 50s, but I
mhm.
had never actually seen Burgess Meredith in one of those,
Old
classic,
movies. Yeah.
like that, and I watched, On Our Merry Way recently with
Okay.
Burgess Meredith and Jimmy Stewart, Henry Fonda, like, it's like, who's who, Dorothy
Yeah.
Lamour, like, but dude, but Burgess Meredith was like, he was also one of the main actors in it. I was like, man, this is Mickey in his like legit prime. It was just so cool to watch him. Like, now I wonder if he ever played a boxer. That's what I really want to watch.
Mm, that would be interesting. Yeah. I mean, he's got a, I mean, I can't go over this full filmography, but he had a very, excuse me, he had a very full career for sure. So,
Did Burt Young have something, a movie he was in about a boxer? Or was he a boxer in a movie, or
that I don't
am I
remember.
confusing him with somebody else? I may
Mr.
be.
T was, I think. I remember them saying he was in another boxing movie, like
You
right
know,
after this one.
I think I'm thinking of somebody else.
Okay.
But the thought just hit me, and then I'm like, no, I don't think it's him after all.
So since we already talked about the death of Mickey, I had this little note. The fact that Mickey turned out to be Jewish was surprising to fans and even Sylvester Stallone himself, as much of the material involving the character for the first two movies and scenes before his death strongly hinted he was Irish American. The main reason for highlighting Mickey's ethnicity was the film's wish to pay tribute to many Jewish Americans who had been successful trainers throughout boxing history, as many of these real people were as old or older than Burgess Meredith when this film released in 1982. So it was a nice little homage to Jewish American trainers of many of the boxers. So pretty cool.
You know what I was thinking a while ago when I asked you, when I said was Burt Young in a boxing movie?
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't help it. I had to look it up and see. It's not that he was in a boxing movie. He served a tour of duty in the United States Marine Corps from 57 to 59. While in there, he boxed regularly.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go.
So that's where I've heard that from. I know it wasn't a movie.
All right, moving on. We've got Mr. T as Clubber Lang.
Pity the fool.
Yeah, pity the fool. Sylvester Stallone was keen to switch things up for the third movie. For the role of Clubber Lang, two world-class heavyweight boxers, Joe Frazier and Ernie Shavers, were initially considered. Both matched Stallone in height and physique, but were ultimately rejected due to vocal concerns. Frazier reportedly had a stutter, and Shavers had a high-pitched voice deemed unsuitable for the character's menacing persona. Yeah, that probably wouldn't have worked too well. He finally found what he was looking for when he tried to visit boxer Leon Spinks at his title fight against the legendary Muhammad Ali. He approached Spink's door. He saw Mr. T, who was the bouncer for him, and would not let him in no matter who he was. Mr. T recalled in an interview, "I didn't let Stallone in. Unless Leon told me you were coming in, then I was not going to let you in, celebrity or not." Stallone respected Mr. T for doing his job and went on his way. 2 years later, he saw Mr. T competing on America's Toughest Bouncers, throwing his opponents around with ease. The actor decided then and there that Mr. T was the perfect opponent for Rocky Balboa in the next movie. Before long, he had entitled Mr. T, whose real name is Lawrence Tured, to play Clubber Lang in the Rocky movie. Stallone saw eye to eye with Mr. T quickly, likely because both of them had extremely humble roots. Stallone at one point was homeless and a struggling actor who had to sell his car and dog just to buy food. Meanwhile, Mr. T dragged himself out of the housing projects in Chicago. Once the contracts had been signed, Stallone and Mr. T started training for their on-screen brawls, but the casting directors were not happy at how Mr. T was performing in the early shoots. To combat this, they tried to send Mr. T to an acting school, but Stallone stepped in. Mr. T remembered how Stallone defended him during the film's shoot. He said, "Stallone said, no, don't touch him. You touch him, you're going to mess him up. I want his rawness." The thing Stallone loved about Mr. T was that he was pure, unfiltered rage and power. It was his opinion if the star was put through acting school, he would lose all of his natural charm and charisma. It's a good thing he did as well. Mr. T ad-libbed a few lines in the movie, including the most iconic catchphrase of all time, "I pity the fool." This was the first time he uttered the phrase. And fun fact, I haven't fact checked it, but I did say it a couple of times. He never said "pity the fool" while he was on the A-Team.
No.
Yeah, I knew that was where it came from, but yeah, and he, like, contrary to popular belief, he never said it on that team.
Yeah.
There were commercials with him saying it.
Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, that was his catchphrase. It wasn't BA, like, so yeah.
Well, his little
Baracus.
cartoon series he had too. You heard
Oh,
it in
yeah,
that.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Look, like I said, I could have, I mean, there was like 6 paragraphs of like his Mr. T's dominance of pop culture in the 80s. Like, he is a bona fide 80s icon. I mean, no doubt. No doubt.
So it's funny. I thought about this earlier that like I was thinking of like quotes from this movie, and
Mm-hmm.
the quote from Mr. T that always comes to mind, obviously after Pity the Fool,
Mm-hmm.
was not from this movie, not from the A-Team,
Okay.
but it was like all the great things, all the time from the A-Team, whatever. But it was from Not Another Teen Movie when he says to Chris Evans at a football game, he
Mhm.
says, "Believe in the ball and throw yourself." Like, it's just, I'm always, anytime I see Mr. T, it just comes to mind. I just had to throw that sidebar out there. Believe in the ball and throw yourself.
I love it. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that movie in a long time. That's a funny movie. It's
It is a funny movie.
Yeah.
It you know, it was a good parody. So I love a good
Mhm.
parody movie. So yes, anything else about Mr. T we want to say? I mean, perfectly
mean,
cast. I mean, there is
yeah,
no other
he's
Clubber
definitely-
Lang. I mean, he was perfect for it.
I mean, who else at the time could you have made as such a monster? He's got the mohawk, he's got the
Mhm.
look, he's got the the mean persona about him.
Mm-hmm.
He just looks and sounds nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, that's, and he's and strong, obviously.
Mhm.
You know,
Oh yeah.
when you see him, I mean, it's like you're even afraid of it. You're just watching the movie. You don't want to get in the ring with it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the only other people you could have gotten to play that role would have been like a professional wrestler,
Mhm.
which obviously those guys can't act like Mr. T can. So,
Right. Right.
but yeah, I mean, he was built for that role, like hands
Mhm.
down.
Yeah. All right, and then last on the list, the late great Hulk Hogan as Thunderlips, one of the greatest. You know, let's talk about the names. You know, Clubber Lang. I mean, I'm sure that was his nickname. He wasn't born. His mama didn't give that name.
If she did, she was mad at him that day.
Let's see. His actual, technical name was James Clubber Lang. It's like his mama called him, named him James. I'm calling him James anyway. So little Coming to America reference there for you. But Hulk Hogan, which is not his real name either. Oops, Terry
Balea.
There he is. So known for his showmanship, large physique, and trademark blonde American Fu Manchu mustache and bandanas, Hogan began training in 1977 with championship wrestling from Florida and achieved global stardom after joining the WWF in 1983. His heroic all-American persona helped usher in the 80s professional wrestling boom, during which he headlined 8 of the first 9 editions of WWF's flagship annual event, WrestleMania, and regularly headlined Saturday night's main event. His first reign as WWF champion lasted 1,474 days, the third longest in the title's history, and he became the first wrestler to win back-to-back Royal Rumbles in 1990 and 1991. So how did he get to this movie? Terry Funk, a professional wrestler who did stunts for the Rocky movies, would recommend Hulk Hogan to Stallone for the role as the film's wrestler. Funk had previously had a role in the 1978 Stallone movie Paradise Alley. Outside of wrestling, Hogan appeared in films such as No Holds Barred and Suburban Commando, and starred in television shows including Thunder in Paradise and Hogan Knows Best. The fight sequence between Rocky and Thunderlips took 10 days to film. That's crazy. In the scene where Rocky body slams Thunderlips out of the ring, Sylvester Stallone admitted he couldn't deadlift Hulk Hogan, so Hogan had to jump into his arms. And then, of course...
So it's just like wrestling.
Yeah.
Hogan knew how to do that. Come on.
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, I mean, he knew what he was doing.
Yeah. I'll help you out, brother.
Do you really think Hogan slammed Andre the Giant?
Right.
No.
Right.
He
Right.
leaned
But
into
I
that.
also find it easier to believe that Hogan could slam Andre the Giant than to believe that Andre the Giant could jump that far.
Yeah.
I mean, that is a big
Yeah.
dude.
I think the thing, if I remember correctly, with Andre was he more or less leaned into it, and Hogan kind of just powered him up a little bit when he leaned into it. 'Cause
Yeah.
you're right, he wasn't jumping off the floor.
Last little fun fact, Hulk Hogan was fired by WWF chairman Vincent McMahon for accepting the role of Thunderlips in the film. But because of Hogan's popularity from the film, McMahon's son, Vince, good old Vince McMahon, who took over the company, brought him back to the WWF 2 years later and used Hogan as the centerpiece of his expansion into other parts of the country. This culminated in the first WrestleMania in 1985, where Hulk Hogan teamed up with Mr. T. Yeah, so
Vincent Kennedy
and Mr.
McMahon.
T was kind of he was in wrestling for a little bit. I think he was referee for like one of the WrestleManias, but then he also like he was in a couple of
The
wrestling
thing with
matches, I think.
Mr. T when it came to wrestling was he got in with Hulk Hogan. That they were doing celebrity stuff for the WrestleMania because it was so big. So he brought
Right.
in Mr. T, so him and Mr. T could fight. I think it was Roddy Piper and Cowboy Bob Orton
Okay.
Jr. I think it was. If I remember correctly, anyway. And then in the second one, he was in WrestleMania 2 boxing Roddy Piper.
Okay.
So that's where Mr. T came in. I don't. He might have refereed a Saturday Night's Main Event or something like that. I don't know. Maybe
Okay.
one of those things. I can't remember.
Yeah.
But I remember him from WrestleMania and WrestleMania 2 for sure, though.
Gotcha.
Yeah. To me, like, I know Hogan, not a great actor. And that role is kind of cheesy too, anyway.
Yeah.
But honestly, it in this film that is so dramatic and serious, like from the get go, like he added some very much needed levity to this film.
Yes.
I love the character of Thunderlips. It's just I love it.
Yeah. I love the whole bit about, Rocky's trying to he's like, let's for charity, let's have some fun. And Thunderlips is just like, I'm about to just, beat you to a pulp for all these people. And then when it's over, he's like, you did great. It's like, can I take pictures with the kids? Oh, sure, man. Like he's like all buddy with him when it's over. And it's just like that. And I think that's one of those things I remember from the movie as a kid. Like, I just thought that was great. Like for him to be like this mean, over the top personality. And then when the fight's over, it's like, oh yeah, we're best friends now. Let's just go hang out or whatever. So
it's all a part of the show.
All part of the show. Yeah.
Let's get that Polaroid, as he called it.
Yeah.
Right. Can we get that Polaroid now?
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan almost wasn't what he turned out to be if things had gone the way it was going. Because when he got fired the first time by Vince Sr., he went to the AWA with Vern Gagne.
Okay.
And Vern Gagne just didn't know how to use him right. And he wouldn't give him, I guess, either he wouldn't put the belt on him right away or wouldn't give him the money that he wanted to keep him there. And so he went ahead and either cut him loose or he quit. And that's when I get it. Well, Vince, I've always called him Vince McMahon. I never think about his father, but Vince Jr., Vince the Third. Yeah, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. When he said, bring him back, and they brought him back, that's what really set him off. But that almost didn't happen. If Vern Gagne had kept him and pushed him the way he wanted to at first, we may have never had seen Hulkamania come around like that. And I did see Hulk Hogan. He wrestled in, back in the day, they were called territories. He wrestled in the territory days in Memphis also, where Jerry Lawler was running the place there.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And he was there with Brutus Beefcake, and they were a tag team called the Boulder Brothers, Ed and Terry Boulder. I mean, it's just a little fun trivia for Hulk Hogan, but they were so terrible back then. If you could see how they looked, especially Brutus Beefcake with that long blonde hair and the little mustache on him and everything, nothing like they were later on.
Did y'all see the movie Mr. Nanny?
Yes.
Unfortunately, yes.
Yes.
Okay, so listen, this is one of those movies that I haven't seen in like 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember it so fondly that I don't want to watch it again.
Yeah.
Like I'm afraid I want to keep those memories that I have.
Oh, yeah.
Like I loved watching it when I was a kid. I watched it so much. But
yeah.
That's just like an example of Terry Bollea's epic acting.
But hey, that was, it's commonplace now for wrestlers to become actors. I mean, of course, I don't know Roddy Piper was, he had his foray. I think the most lucrative has been, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, of course. He's been the biggest breakout. Cena's doing okay. But anyway, and once again,
Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Johnson had his nanny moment, we'll say. He was the Tooth Fairy.
The Tooth Fairy, yeah. Overall, on Pop Culture Roulette, which Nicholas is a frequent co-host on here, their most recent episode is talking about the Mr. Nanny role, like the movies about like tough guys being like babysitters, the Beefcake Babysitter, I think is what it is. So they talk about the pacifier, Mr. Nanny, all those, whatever. So, Kindergarten Cop, all those. So yeah, became its own genre. So all right, let's talk about iconic scenes. So if someone said to you Rocky 3, what is the first scene that pops into your head? Let's start with you, JB.
Dude, honestly, it's nothing compares. It's Apollo and Rocky running on the beach together.
Yep.
Like that scene right there. Honestly, that's probably the most iconic scene other than running up the stairs.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah.
Probably the second most iconic scene in the entire franchise. Like that's that camaraderie there. Those two guys that used to be enemies that had two like back to back fights against each other. He took the belt from him and everything, like, and the way that they came together after Mickey's death, and just to see him training Rocky and them running on the beach together and them jumping up, cheering on each other. Like, it was just a really cool, iconic moment. And I'll always remember it. So,
yeah, I agree. What about you, Chris? Same or different?
I was going to say the same, but I'm going to be different since he said that one. Thanks a lot.
There's more than one. There's more than one.
Payback.
I kept thinking, I was like, please pick me, please pick me, please pick me.
That's
because I knew that was going to be it.
What that is, it's payback to me because I mentioned I watched it before and he hadn't seen it and he forgot to watch it. So he got me back on that one, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, I have to agree with him. Definitely one of the most iconic ones, but also one of the first scenes that come to my mind, literally, when you say Rocky 3, is when they're in the second fight and he's already started taking the beating. He's doing good to start. Jab, jab, 1, 2, 1, 2, doing all the movement around. But then Clubber Lang gets him in the corner and starts whooping on him. Right now, he reverts back to the old Rocky. Well, when he starts taking, he's getting mad and everything, Clubber forces him back in the corner again. Then you got this little series of punches and swings where Mr. T is swinging and missing, and he keeps ducking and ducking, and he's throwing a couple of punches, he's falling back and ducking, throwing a couple more punches, and just that little tidbit of about 15 seconds, a flurry of punches and ducks and everything, that does literally pop in my mind when you say Rocky 3.
Okay, yeah.
That and running on the beach, which JB took from me. So
yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, the running on the beach is probably the most iconic. Yeah. I was trying to think that I'm like, I'm trying to think of my favorite scenes or scenes that I really liked. But yeah, most iconic is definitely that. I mean, the unveiling of the statue, that becomes, he goes back to is pretty big. But yeah, I mean, the running on the, and then the training montage, every great Rocky movie has a good training montage. And this one, I didn't really remember that much about it. I remember the ones from the first one. I remember the ones, of course, the one from 4 is the most one I remember the most because I've seen that one more. But yeah, I love the training montage of watching him improve. Man, that's just, it's inspiring. Like those training montages make you want to I want to get in shape now. I don't. But yeah, I want to chase chickens, or I want to run on the beach.
I don't do it, but I want to.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Once I put down this bag of Oreos, I'm going to do it.
One of the things the Rocky movies have a lot of too is some inspirational, motivational type speeches and everything. Yeah. The thing between him and Adrian there on the beach is really pretty strong in the movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
About getting the truth out of him and then breaking him down and saying he's afraid and everything. That's a really strong scene right there.
For favorite scenes, I think watching it this time, and it may change every time I watch it, but that quickly rose to be my favorite scene in the movie. Like that whole conversation. Once again, Stallone, you can say whatever you want about him, is a great writer. I mean, he knows how to write good dialogue and he knows how to direct. Like, I even think about when I saw that he wrote and directed this one, I was just watching it, how well he makes movies. I mean, he just does he does a good job. So, but that whole conversation of her not pushing him, but her knowing how to get him to say that he was afraid. He's afraid to fight because he's angry that Mickey was only having him fight has-beens to keep the title. And so, which made him doubt, was he ever, like you said, he made me think I was better than I was, and so it's a great struggle for the character to have and for her to get him to finally let that out. And once he lets it out and be able to kind of process it, that he can overcome it, so. And then I love it. She's like, he's like, what if I lose? Well, then you lose, and you'll know the truth. It's like, it doesn't matter if you win, but at least try to know if you can or not. Don't not fight because you're afraid you're going to lose. So just, yeah, like you said, so much inspiration. Like that whole section is like the inspiration after inspiration after inspiration.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Psst, healthcare pros, word's out, and it's too good to keep quiet. Look, LinkedIn is revolutionizing job hunting, making it possible to search by specialty, shift preference, and salary. Endless scrolling is out. Whether it's a mental health therapist or dental hygienist, finding the perfect role is faster and easier than ever. Head to linkedin.com/healthcare and start your search today.
Your earbud fell in a coffee cup. You need a taco pick-me-up. When modern life gets rough, grab the timeless taste you love. Paso, the old El Paso.
Yeah, I mean, as you said, Stallone is his writing and his direction, and he didn't direct all of the movies in this
No.
franchise,
Yeah.
but he pretty much did.
Yeah, it's well documented in this podcast of the director, non-director of Sylvester Stallone. Yeah.
Yeah, but like, say what you will about other, even Rocky V. Okay, Stallone knows how to tell a story, and in each edition of this franchise is like a different stage of Rocky's life that everybody can relate to.
Yeah,
like no matter like, and it's like just represents the struggles that we all deal with. And so like this is the aging superstar who like kind of lost his edge and kind of a little bit complacent and everything. Like, well, we all do that,
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah.
so like he is just such a freaking storyteller, man. I love it. Like, this one is, it's always one of my favorites, and I love Stallone and everything that he does. He can also do some stinkers. I get that too. But
Yeah.
He's having fun.
He's not
Everybody
perfect,
does.
but yeah.
He's not perfect. But that one line we're talking about, lines that he said in this movie, he said, I pulled it up. It ain't about how hard you hit. It's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done. That's not about boxing, guys.
No.
That's life.
That's about life.
That's life.
Like,
Yeah.
That's this whole franchise, man. It's just like, it's not about boxing. The first movie obviously is not. It's a love story.
That's why I was saying earlier, this whole franchise, when it comes to Rocky, it's a lot of motivational, inspirational stuff in it.
Yeah.
I mean, from the dialogue, the speeches he's given, that's like the one you just mentioned, he's given to his son in Rocky Balboa. Even to some of his other stuff he's in, like in some of the Rambo films he's done. Some inspirational type stuff and motivational type speeches and everything. He's probably one of my favorites, if not my favorite, from the 80s when it comes to, if I had to pick one actor in his movies from that decade, it's a close race with him and Schwarzenegger, but I give the edge to Stallone just because of the Rocky franchise, if anything.
Yeah. I was reading an article where it was talking about, no matter whether you love every Rocky movie or not, each one has value. Like, they each tell a value. They have moments of value or moments of, like I said, inspiration. Like they have their place in the franchise, which you can't say for all franchises that have gone that long. So, and I kind of agree with that, and I even heard someone, like, sidebar, but like, even with Star Wars, there's some great Star Wars movies and there's some terrible Star Wars movies, but every Star Wars movie will have that Star Wars moment where you're like, yes, I'm watching a Star Wars movie. Like, there's a distinction to them that sets them apart from any other type of movie, whether the movie is great or not. The same thing with Rocky. Like, there's moments in every Rocky movie that, like, yes, this is a Rocky movie. If it's an inspirational speech, if it's, the come from behind victory or whatever that might be, they all have merit, and there's something in them that make them worth watching, even if you're going to love some more than the others, in my humble opinion.
It's an underdog story, man.
Yeah.
One of the greatest underdog stories ever.
Which is why it's been replicated and parodied so many times, because, but I mean, just about every sports movie isn't a real sports movie unless it's the underdog that has to win, has to come from behind and win in the end. So, win in the end.
I knew that was coming. I knew that's my first thought I had. I was like, someone's about to say it.
Yeah. All right. Any other favorite scenes you want to talk about?
There's a couple of funny scenes in it. Well, I mean,
Oh, yeah.
for me, there's a couple of funny scenes at the very end.
Mhm.
There's a reference made to a favor being owed throughout the movie.
Yes.
And then at the end, we find out what the favor is. Him and Apollo are walking into an empty gym in their fighting, gear and everything. And they're circling the ring and they're talking to each other like they're kind of just like it's like low grade trash talk, right? It's not really serious. And he's like, "You want to ring the bell?" And he's like, "Ding,
Ding,
ding,
ding.
ding."
Yeah.
Ding. That one, and when they first get to the place they're going to train at,
Mhm.
and Paulie is just having a fit. This is below our standards, Rock. We got to go. We
Right.
got to leave, and I don't even have a gun, And they get into the place in there, and he's telling him, says, "Rock, we got to get out of here. I got a reputation, man." And he goes,
Mhm.
"I don't like these people."
Yeah.
And he looked at him and he goes, "Well, maybe they don't like you so much neither." And he goes, "What'd I do to them?"
Right. Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, what'd I do to them? Well, what did they do to you?
Right. Exactly. I had that was one of my lines. My dialogue that I was going to talk about. That's probably my favorite little piece of like for humor. Like, yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
well, you know what? Maybe they don't like you either. What'd I ever do to them? And they call me Punchy is what he tells Adrian. I just like, oh,
Yeah.
that was
Yeah.
is perfect. Is perfect. Like, and once again, just a great, just a great truth moment. Like, let Paulie be Paulie, but in that
Yeah.
moment, like teach him a lesson too. So I love it. Yeah. A lot.
One line that I liked that it's very, very subtle, but it's just clever the way it was written and the way it was said was when they were getting in that ring at the end,
Mhm.
and Apollo says, Rocky says, "You fight great, but I'm a great fighter."
Yeah.
Like, I thought that was just a really cool, clever line for them to use in that.
Mm-hmm.
But then obviously Thunder Lips is one of my favorite scenes too.
Yep.
Which we've already
He's got
discussed
some
that.
great lines too. Yeah.
He's got some good ones. But when he's fighting Clubber Lang and he's letting Clubber Lang just like waylay on him,
Mhm.
he's up in his face and he's
Yeah.
saying, "Come on, hit me again.
Right.
You ain't so bad.
Yeah.
Come on."
Yeah.
Like, that's just, I love it, man. It's
Mhm.
so good.
My mama
Yeah.
just egging him on, like you hurt the ego, get him riled up. So, yeah.
Come on, champ. Come on, hit me in the face. Come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
What did he tell me?
Oh,
He says, "You crazy, man. You crazy." He said, "I might be crazy, but I ain't breathing heavy."
Yep.
Yeah. All right, cool. So let's jump into some trivia and other scenes and start wrapping it up. So in a 1979 interview with Roger Ebert, Stallone discussed an entirely different vision for Rocky III. It was originally to be the final Rocky installment. Stallone said he contemplated having Rocky's last fight in the Colosseum in Rome, going so far as to tell Ebert he wanted to arrange and film a real audience with Pope John Paul II in character as Rocky to include in the film. A year later, he was still debating how Rocky III would end and told Ebert, if I have real nerve, Rocky should die at the end of the third film. Of course, that didn't happen.
Boo. Don't want that.
So
Can't bring the Pope into this, y'all.
the blonde groupie who flirts with Rocky during his public training session, that's Sasha Stallone, his first wife. She's also the mother of Sage Stallone, who later played Rocky's son in Rocky V and passed away not too long ago. Yeah, I don't doubt this. This is one of my favorites. According to Sylvester Stallone, Mr. T and Carl Weathers did not get along during filming and went at each other on numerous occasions. This is evident during the scene where Apollo approaches Lang's corner and attempts to shake hands. Lang knocks his hand away and goads him. This was moments after the pair had a dispute on set before shooting the scene. So just take that anger and put it on film. So I think that worked.
Carl Weathers didn't get along with Dolph Lundgren either, they said in the fourth one.
Probably not.
Dolph
Crazy.
Lundgren was probably too smart for everybody anyway.
Probably so.
Dude is like legitimately a rocket scientist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway.
He's not as dumb as he looks. Yeah.
And he
Nope,
can kick
not at all.
people's butts. I mean, martial artist. I mean, he's a genius. So, do you know the trivia about the Eye of the Tiger and the song that they originally wanted for the movie?
Yes, but you can go ahead.
You're the Best.
Yeah.
That was in the Karate Kid.
Karate
was
Kid.
originally meant for Rocky III, but they turned it down because he had specifically got Survivor to do Eye of the Tiger for it. But then, funny enough, You're the
Go ahead. Go ahead.
I'll say, but then funny enough that You're the Best got shopped around a little bit, I guess, before it reached Karate Kid, because they tried to put it in Flashdance as well. I don't know where it would have fit in Flashdance.
I don't know.
I'm not sure about that, but then it originally ended up in Karate Kid, obviously.
But do you know why Stallone went to? Sorry, do you know why Stallone went to Survivor to write a song?
Because he couldn't get
Queen.
The song from Queen. He wanted Another One Bites the Dust.
Yeah, that was a song he really wanted. Yeah, I think the songwriter for Eye of the Tiger said when they watched the early cut of the film, he had already put Another One Bites the Dust in that scene, and they're like, "How are we going to write a better song than this? Like, it's perfect." And they still ended up doing it. So.
And they did.
Yeah,
they did. Like honestly, and I've got to know, does this make everyone's top 5? Like the Eye of the Tiger, as far as like movie soundtrack, epic song?
By far.
Yeah. Songs from movie soundtrack. Yeah. And then the Rocky IV soundtrack itself probably is up there. Top 5 soundtracks probably.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So they've always had good music in the Rocky movies.
But even that Bill Conti score, man, is just oh, God.
Oh my gosh! Yes, I'm glad you brought that up.
All of them.
Yeah.
Gonna Fly Now, that kind of runs through like the entire franchise. Oh, it's so good, so good.
I mean, the training montage is not what it is without that score behind it. I mean, they're paired so well together. Yeah, but yeah, the score in this is phenomenal, and because then in 4, there's not really much of a score. It's all pop music and music videos. But yeah, the MTV version of Rocky. But go ahead.
But then in 4, though, you've got the Vince DiCola stuff.
Yeah, which is great.
Fanfare from Rocky and what they call it, War. Then you get the whole training sequence that they have with that. I mean, it's really good stuff for that too. So I don't know what I like better, the Vince DiCola or the what's his name, Bill Conti. I started to say Tom. Yeah. Bill Conti. I can't make my mind which ones I like better, but I mean they're great all around.
I think they both work for what they're in. It was a different, Bill Conti, like that score matches the time, like 82. I really, for some reason, I thought it came out in 83, but it's 82. But it's really supposed to be set in 79 because the first Rocky, like Rocky 1 and 2 are supposed to be like within the same year. And this is only supposed to be like 2 years after that. So technically, this is like supposed to be set in 79. But when they show Mickey's tombstone, it shows that he died in 82, or 81, I think. But anyway, I digress. But yeah, so the last little bit of trivia, the rest will be in the show notes. Rocky's rematch against Clubber Lang in the film is the shortest fight in the entire franchise. Unlike previous battles that went the full 15 rounds, this one ends in just 3 rounds, proving that Rocky wasn't messing around after training with Apollo. So yeah, he gets the knockout in the 3rd round. Which doesn't Clubber Lang knock him out in the 2nd round in the first fight? Yeah. So even that was short. All right, box office.
He didn't have to go the distance this time.
No, yeah, exactly. So Rocky 3 was released during the Memorial Day weekend of 1982, taking the top spot at the box office as it was the only new release for the weekend. The next week it dropped to 2nd place behind Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, and was dropped to 3rd place behind Wrath of Khan and E.T. the Extraterrestrial during its 3rd weekend. It went on to be an enormous box office success and surpassed the gross of the predecessor. And I think it was like the 3rd or 4th highest grossing movie for that year. All right, now it's time to take a look at how well this 80s flick holds up today. The all-new rewatchability nostalgia meter is our way of measuring how enjoyable a movie is for repeat viewings, along with the waves of nostalgia it brings. Here's how it works. It's a 1 to 10 scale. Any number between 1 and 10 will do. Here are a few parameters to help you decide. At the bottom of the meter is a number 1, which means I saw it once and that was enough. Right in the middle at 5, it's a good rewatch every couple of years. And the highly coveted number 10 at the top of the meter says it's highly rewatchable and full of nostalgia. So, JB, we'll start with you. Where does Rocky 3 land for you on the rewatchability nostalgia meter?
Words of Billy Bob. I give it a 10. A 10. A effing 10.
Oh my God. Can I tell you, I had the exact same thought that you just did like 30 seconds ago. I wasn't gonna say it though. I wasn't going to, but dude, I thought that exact same thing come to mind.
I got the
That's
right two on this
amazing.
episode. Yeah.
Well, dude, that's amazing.
Honestly, man, like it's just one of those. The entire franchise, really, and I'm if I'm going to watch the franchise, I'm not going to skip 5 either. I could watch them like over and over and over, and I have watched them over and over and over again.
Right,
Like this
right.
is, and the first 4 and Rocky Balboa,
Yes.
like and Creed 1 and 2, honestly.
Well, yes.
Like I could legitimately watch all of those movies like on repeat.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so good.
Props to Ryan Coogler for finding a way to, give more life to the Rocky franchise with the Creed movies. Cause yeah, I like the first one a lot better than the second one. Even though the second one is still great. I agree with you.
The second one was like a sequel to Rocky 4 though, to me.
Yeah.
That's why I liked it so much, just because I love Rocky 4.
Yeah.
Creed 3's not very good.
No.
Anyway,
It could have been. I mean, it had the potential, but it lacked a few things. But we're not going to talk about that right now. But yeah,
40 years later. Go ahead.
It's also the one that Stallone's not in. But I digress. But anyway, so Chris, what about you? Where does it rank for you?
It's got a solid 8 for me. I do like watching it. I don't watch it every year, but I mean, I do like to rewatch it. Like earlier, I did skip through a couple things earlier because I was short for time and I didn't want to, not see the end of it for sure before we did this. So I mean, I kind of, hit the little 10-second jump for a few times here and there. But yeah, it's definitely very rewatchable for me and very nostalgic as well. I mean, just for the fact of Mr. T being in it and Hulk Hogan being in it. And, the training, like we said earlier, the montage of training there. And just me remembering the fact, like I told you earlier, that I always get it on that video disc thing and flip it over and just watch the back side of it every time. Just for the good stuff, So it always makes me remember that. Definitely full of nostalgia.
Awesome. Yeah. I think I'm right in the middle. Lately, I've been in the middle of my two co-hosts, but yeah, it's not as high as a 10 for me, only because, like, for the same reason, I don't watch it every year. It is rewatchable, but it's not one that I do rewatch that often. And once again, I've seen Rocky 4 probably way more than I've seen Rocky 3. But once again, I think this one might be just a little bit better than Rocky 4, but I would watch them both anytime. I'm going to give it about an 8.5. I think it's pretty close to a 9 for me. So I'll give it a 9. So it lands right in the middle, but highly, nostalgia is very high. Like I said, there's the first Rocky movie that I ever saw. It's what introduced me to the character, to the franchise, and is great to revisit. So I got an 8 from Chris, a 9 from me, and a 10 from JB. So I think it ranked very, very well, much higher than others that we've covered. So, but let us know where you think Rocky 3 should rank on the rewatchability nostalgia meter for you. You can send us an email, let us know on social media, or you can put a comment right here on this YouTube video if you're watching us on YouTube. Well, Chris and JB, I appreciate you guys being on this episode. Always a pleasure to have you both on the show. Chris, what you got coming up on Retro Life for you?
My cat Freddie loves to be brushed and cuddled. But stirring up his cat allergens meant sneezing and itchy eyes. Then I found Purina One Live Clear. It's cat food that reduced the major allergen and my suffering in as little as 21 days. Now, we feel closer than ever. If you have issues with cat allergens, you really need to try Purina One Live Clear.
Try new Purina One Live Clear today. Purina One, a difference from day one.
This episode is brought to you by Diet Coke. You know that moment when you just need to hit pause and refresh? An ice-cold Diet Coke isn't just a break. It's your chance to catch your breath and savor a moment that's all about you. Always refreshing, still the same great taste. Diet Coke. Make time for you time.
Let's see, when is this going to drop?
This Friday.
This upcoming Friday? So I will probably, when this drops, Quigley Down Under will be dropping the day before on Thursday.
Selleck, yeah.
Yeah, it was a fun movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I saw that one in the theater. I remember that one.
2 episodes after that, back to back, would be an interview with Keith Cook. And then I'm going to have my friend Marty on with me and we're bringing on Keith Coogan to talk the movie
right.
Toy Soldiers.
Man, good old Coogan. Yeah, I got to interview him very briefly like last year, I think it was, but he's a fun guy. So, and talking about Toy Soldiers is going to be good.
He's definitely fun. I had him on once before just to talk about all his movies and everything, and it was fun. But, this is Toy Soldier specific. We didn't get to talk about Toy Soldiers a lot when he was on the first time. And I had mentioned to him about possibly coming on in the future for that, and he said just let him know. So, and sure enough, he remembered me, and he said, yeah, I'd love to. We will do that. So
awesome.
It's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to him.
Very cool. All right, JB, Manly Movies. Do we have a resurrection date yet?
We don't have a resurrection date yet, but I'm going to shift gears.
Okay.
And mention my other podcast.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, we're getting into college football time.
College football is starting, and I started a podcast, and it's starting its 8th season this coming year. And I'm not the actual host anymore because I've kind of given that over to someone else, but I am on the show periodically, and I'm going to try to get on there every week this time. But anyway, we're starting up. Got the preseason show coming up this week, which I will be recording tomorrow. I don't know when this will be dropping. I know you probably just said that, but yeah. So yeah, we're going into our 8th season of this podcast, and so I do have a podcast that I started that has been continuing to go.
Right.
I just haven't been hosting it for the last couple of years.
Now, is this college football in general, or you get a specific team you're focused on?
It is the SEC Tavern Talk. So it's about SEC. Well, it's not, it's football, but we do try to do some March Madness shows. And if one of our teams is in the College World Series, we discuss that. and we have some off-season stuff, but it's mostly college football because that's what the SEC fans
So you did pick the
most.
best conference at least, so that's good.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah.
Who you representing over there, Chris?
I ain't even talking about it. Let's just say my father raised me watching the local team, and I live in Nashville, or just outside of Nashville.
Hey, well, you got a good baseball team, so it's okay.
Yeah, they get some decent basketball,
and good graduation rates.
That's right. And one of these days, and then the rest of those teams can't talk about us because one day they either have to work for us or we're going to represent them in court, one or the other.
Dude, I love Vandy. I don't care. I always cheer for Vandy.
Speaking of rooting for the underdogs.
There you go.
Watching them beat Alabama last year was very satisfying. It'll never happen
y'all,
again.
Honestly, they looked like they were going to have a good run when James Franklin was there, and then he left. And I was like, man, dude, you had something good going.
But you can't blame him, though. Yeah. Penn State.
I mean, that's a dream job for everybody. I get it.
All right, good deal. Go check out, what's it called again, JB? I'm sorry.
SEC Tavern Talk.
Tavern Talk. I remember the Tavern Talk part, SEC. And, of course, Retro Life for You with Chris, and great episodes. And even if you want to go back and find the old episodes of Manly Movies, listen to us talk about Tango and Cash if you're a big Stallone fan. We had a lot of fun talking about that one. So
Rocky 1 is on there as well.
All right. Yes, there you go. There you go.
Tango and Cash.
Cash
and Tango.
Love it. All right. Well, if you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts. Be sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss an episode. Jump online and visit the website 80sflickflashback.com and our TeePublic store for some awesome 80s Flick Flashback merch and original designs. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you, Chris and JB, for being here. I'm Tim Williams for the 80s Flick Flashback podcast. Nothing is real if you don't believe in who you are.